Hello.
Hello.
The wall is not a wall to save America.
All right.
This wall is a wall to save the world.
Yeah.
Last month, United States Immigration and Customs Enforcement came out with their January report for the fiscal year ending last month. Compared to the same time period last year, there was a 290% increase in illegal border crossings as compared to last year. What the most concerning part of that is, though, is the number of large groups, people coming in large groups of 100 people or more. So far in January, there's been 58 large groups that they've mostly been able to break up. One tactic of the cartels, though, is to send a group of women to one determined spot and distract Border Patrol, so they have to call all the resources from the area for miles around so they can sneak across the border 2 miles down the road with their drugs, invade America. President Trump is brilliant at getting the word out in spite of the media and even his own party. And we are all integral part of that. He took us to the border live so border agents could talk to us directly. He introduced us to the angel families who had people murdered by illegal aliens, and there's 3 of them I brought with me today, memorialized. Those are 3 Michigan victims. He counted on us, the networks of the grassroots, to carry his message where the media has failed. We have stepped up to become the media and become the voice for the president, Laura Loomer, Dennis Michael Lynch, the Tea Parties, and even our group, MICE, Michiganders for Immigration Control and Enforcement. I got involved in politics in 2007. I'm a journeyman plaster, believe it or not. Anyway, long story short, we were competing against a lot of illegals, and finally I got sick of it one day and said, this has to stop. I'm going to start telling people what is going on. And then the Tea Party started to pop up, so it was a good way to get the message out. And I just talked to people on job sites about whatever happened. I'm like, hey, these guys are taking all of our work. Look how rude they are. They pretend like they don't know what we're saying, but I hear them in the parking lot speaking plain English to each other. Last spring, we are involved in a network of a lot of patriot groups and grassroots across the country. One of the groups that we affiliate with searches for homeless veterans so that they can place them in housing for the night if it's really cold. Last year in Tucson, Arizona, they came across some underground holding cells that were buried in the earth with the openings only big enough for children to fit through. And these underground caves were filled with mattresses and toys. The trees surrounding the camp had wrist restraints and ankle restraints tied to the trees. They found bloody knives, and they did end up finding a skull. And I was on a conference call with 80 other people to the Tucson Sheriff's Department to ask why they weren't going out there to investigate. And the funny thing about it is the deputy kept saying, how do you know this information? Where are you getting your information? And our head guy said, live feed. The deputy got so mad and flustered, he almost hung up on us. But I printed off that short story about that, and it has pictures to go with it. So please pick up one of these on your way out today. It just tells you what happened there. And 2 months after this happened is when the New Mexico compound was discovered, where the Islamists were instructing children how to conduct school shootings. And they found the remains of many children in that camp also. It's hard to make a concrete correlation between illegal immigration, the open borders, and human smuggling, but we know it plays a part. I'll read to you a statement. A friend I met in Chicago who does outreach to abused and trafficked women. He now lives in New York City. He has performed between 700 and 1,000 outreach missions, he calls them, on the streets of New York City, and he says he's rescued almost 360 women and gotten them to get off the streets. I asked him if he thought illegal immigration played a key role in the smuggling. He says, when I've seen the vast majority of pimps and women who are professionally trafficked or themselves being trafficked are amateurs when compared to the organized crime, trafficked by Latinos, Asians, and Middle Easterners who are not native English speaking. So I can only assume, without knowing, and it would be folly if I were to say there were citizens. He says all these women have been trafficked in Asian nations previously. The majority of streetwalkers in New York City are controlled by Muslims. Now back to our president red-pilling the masses with our help. In the last 3 weeks since the government reopened, we've been exposed to almost every facet of illegal immigration possible. We've had drug busts at our border by Border Patrol, Customs and Border Patrol, Homeland Security. One drug bust netted $466 million worth of drugs that was headed for Australia from the U.S.-Mexican border. The other drug operation that was busted just a few weeks ago is the largest recovery of drugs ever. Illicit drugs that they were going to ship off from the U.S.-Mexican border. We also saw the murder trial of Brian Terry last week in Arizona, which was linked to Fast and Furious, which happened across our border. What it did was uncover a concerted effort between our former administration and the Central American cartels. We also had the El Chapo Guzman trial, which just ended a few days ago, where he was found guilty. He's the cartel kingpin. He was found guilty of multiple murders and raping girls as young as 13. Now, in countries such as Mexico, their consent age is 12 there. So for him to admit that he has sex with a 13-year-old is probably acceptable in his society. The trial also exposed bribes between U.S. politicians that he had placed, involving even Nancy Pelosi, to keep our borders open. 2 weeks ago, a Brazilian activist named Sabrina Bittencourt broke and exposed a story about John of God. Did anybody hear about that? John of God was promoted by Oprah Winfrey, and he's the faith healer for Bill Clinton. He's now been charged just a short while ago with multiple murders, baby trafficking, and as a sex slave ringleader. He would have these farms where he would keep young girls, and he admitted to, as young as 13, keep them in captivity, rape them repeatedly, so that they would become pregnant over and over and sell the babies for $40,000 to $50,000 a piece. And this is all across our international borders. What's even more shocking about that? The live interview with the journalist Kemp last week, he interviewed a self-professed trafficker on a live feed who admitted that he himself trafficked 4,000 girls. But that's not even the most shocking part. The worst part is, he said the ones that tried to run away or cause too many problems, they just kill them. And he himself has killed between 300 and 400 girls up to the age of 13. We don't have a humanitarian crisis at the border. We have a crisis to save humanity. And that's what our president is fighting for. I've given you the brief outline of the forces trying to open our borders to destroy freedom worldwide by destroying America. It's hard to process this information, but it is positive that we're all a part of it. And look at, just like Linda Lee said and like Laura Cox, we have to be brave, and we are stepping out in the gap to spread the word and make sure this stops. It's positive that we are here together. If we are builders, one of the great foundations of that idea is that we must rebuild each other. And as we build each other, we create more builders, and then we really begin to rebuild our society. So it starts with service to each other. And that's why everybody in this room is here, and I'm so happy. And Donald Trump, he is a lion for us.
Yeah.
If you want to ask any questions, later on today, I'll stick around for a few minutes. But please take one of those, it has our little logo on it. Take one of these with you so you can refer to that. And let's get Donald Trump elected. Woo-hoo!
Good job, Tamyra.